Well, hello everybody, and welcome to yet another week in MBTV News, sometimes known as Metaworld News. I don't know why. And this is where we look at news, fair enough, from virtual worlds, immersive spaces online, things like that. Tend to look at the worlds themselves and a bit about how we get into them. And just a general roundup, because we feature haptics and things like that as they become relevant. My name is Mal Burns, and you can also find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Malburns Squashed, or rather Malburns. You can forget about the squash. That's just my adjective. Right, joining me here is none other than James Atlloud, who's fiddling with all the knobs and making the pictures and sound and everything.
Oh, Mel, I just lost your voice. I don't hear anything. I wonder.
It's gone silent.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Are you
Yes.
back?
Oh, I hope I'm back. What did I
Yeah.
do something? Oh, well, I did say what I said. Welcome, James. So
Yeah,
here we
yeah,
are.
yeah. And then you went quiet. So, well,
And
Mel,
here
I'm
we are.
I'm glad to be here, and I like your work on your avatar. It's looking pretty good.
Um, right, new hat, new glasses, and a scarf instead of a mask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But your
Well,
your body also is less distorted, which it was really
oh,
irritating me for a while. So I'm happy to see you resized.
okay. Well, I can't tell with my monitor camera is showing me sitting down here, and and also when I'm wandering around on your own, you never know whether you're 10 feet tall or
That's
10 inches.
right. That's right.
Just, more conscious of the roundness of the body than anything else, to be honest. Right. Okay. Um, so today, I was about to say before I forget, and I have forgotten already. Today is the 19th, I believe, isn't it? Yes, it's
I
the
think it
19th.
is. If things haven't changed, I think we're still on the 19th.
Yeah, no. I had it on my memory, and then I started talking there, and I forgot what it was on my memory. Right, 19th of February, 2023. We're very unprofessional here, but we do try to get the news to you as best we can. Okay. First up, I think it's first up. Yeah. Got a picture on the screen. These are a new pair of headsets that well, I suppose they are headsets, but I think these qualify for being something other than a helmet. That is for sure. I don't know whether they are glasses, and there's still quite a lot of them, but they come close to the sort of thing that would appeal to me. Apparently, they're also extraordinarily lightweight, which I think would make all the difference in sort of convincing yourself you're not wearing a helmet, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a couple of links to that a little bit later. I've got some other pictures here. There's
Oh,
still quite a lot. No, these are actually part of presentations. So here we see the same device, and compare that with an Oculus contraption or a Quest contraption, or with a helmet anyway. Yeah, bit smaller. I think you'll agree.
mm-hmm.
Certainly considerably more compact, and they look a bit more serious, for that matter. I've always thought the Oculus things look a bit like they look a bit toy-like, even when they're not toys. Anyway, but that gives you a comparative sort of size to look at there. Don't know. Oh, that's the Open Mic Weekly in a platform called Sansar. And oh yes, hang on. Right, I'm sorry. We seem to have had some of last week's pictures are still up here. So moving on. I'm going to flip away to the web screens where we've got some web links for you, and I'm going to start where we usually start, which is with Tony Vigillo and his wonderful site called thescarredghost.com. Da 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 da. And we always have it ready. The sound
Mm,
effect there. The
always
wolf howl.
ready.
Yeah. So this is the XR Week Peak from Scar Ghost under his other name, and looking at Quest 3 confirmed 100 plus games in the work for PS VR 2. That's PlayStation, of course. And guess what? More, yes, and more.
And more.
There he is, fresh back from China. Uh, Back in Italy, so he's on the pasta. Well, we don't really need to know that, but anyway, top news of the week. This is a mock-up of what they think is Quest 3. This is from some show called Sadly It's Bradley. We featured something from them recently. Um, the new PlayStation VR2 being unveiled, and things about batteries on the Samsung sets. Newsworthy mention: Meta finalises the acquisition of Within. It was doubtful whether they're going to be able to do that for a while, but I think
Hmm.
they've certainly managed to get away with it in the States. Whether the European community will take objection and block it, the merger here, I don't know. Uh, Assassin's Creed, this is all gamey sort of stuff. Meta claims to have found the source of the people that are leaking its stuff. Gosh golly, how naughty of them. Mind VR will be covered by a New York insurer. This is the mental health one, isn't it? Mind VR. MIT engineers invent vertical full color microscopic LEDs. I don't quite know what the fuss is there and what's the difference between horizontal ones and vertical ones, but I'm not a techie, so that's probably, I'm confused on that one. Anyway, that is the roundup you'll find at skarghost.com, which is SKARREDGHOST.com. Yeah, believe it or not, it's a .com. Right, get rid of that. Move up a bit, in fact. This is roadtovr.com. Posting a bit more regularly with some stuff again now, well, from my point of view. They're the ones that first, as far as I could see, actually announced the VR veteran studio behind big screen unveils their thin and light PC VR. Well, they're still calling it headset there, Beyond. This is the one we saw the picture of just at the beginning of the show just now. Um, it's been promoted by Big Screen, which is actually a viewing app where you share things like movies, television, big screen things, like a big cinema that you share. They call it social VR because you share it with your friends. And unlike most cinemas, at least, you can actually talk to your friends while you're watching. Whether they appreciate you interrupting their movie, I don't know, but there's a slight difference there between that and the real life cinema. Anyway, the new headset promises a few intriguing specs. Custom made fit, which you can have it molded based on a 3D scan of your face, and a big first for VR veterans who are responsible for one of the most beloved content viewing platforms, which of course is big screen. It's called Big Screen Beyond. It costs $1,000 and dual OLED micro displays, blah blah blah. There's another picture of it. Actually, that's the nicest looking picture there is so far. It makes this bit look barely bigger than the actual band that goes around your head. Although the band around your head is quite big, shall we say? So, and pre-orders have already started. So you can find more about this at roadtovr.com, roadtovr.com. And at least one person now on screen looks to be quite happy clicking away and sitting there looking at it. She looks like she's looking at television, which of course she probably is, but she isn't, if you see what I mean. Moving on, I think. Right. Question. What are your digital rights on the metaverse? Doesn't say in the metaverse. I didn't quite get this, but nevertheless, it's an interesting, vital topic, really. Scales of justice there. A very British thing, really. The statue from the High Courts, I think, but treated rather differently. Anyway, complicated concept for consumers and companies, etc., etc. A metaverse could have incredible benefits, blah blah blah. If anybody ever figures out what it is these days, and United Nations introduces the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 70 years ago. The world has still failed to comprehensively keep up with them or agree on those rights. So what the hell are we going to do with the metaverse? Seems to be the vital question here. Defining human rights in the digital age, pretty obvious, really, and the issue with digital rights in the metaverse itself. It's no surprising things like the World Economic Forum are paying an awful lot of attention to this, but there seems to be a bit of a slowdown, in my opinion, as to all the hype about the word metaverse and all these new things. Not a major one, unfortunately, but it could be a while. It means there's maybe a little bit longer to figure out a lot of this stuff than if somebody like like a four-letter word company might have just barged in and tried to take over anything, and it would be there and all ready for abuse before you can even start to legislate. They might let kids in or something like that. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, what they'll look like in the metaverse. This is quite a long article, medium long, as you can gather there. So you'll find that at xrtoday.com, xrtoday.com. And we'll just dispose of that one for convenience at my end. And a metaverse primer, examining the future of all digital interaction. Again, announcing we're in 2023, a whole month in now. They don't really need to do that, do they? Anyway, look at the ways we interact with one another through digital media are rapidly evolving, and the metaverse supplies a way to encapsulate and track advances in these forms of communication and digital interaction, blah, blah, blah. And we've got the physical world, the virtual world, all sort of obvious stuff that we know already, but all mixed together to make a nice little essay. Oh, I am cynical at times, aren't I? And it's quite a long essay and quite a lot in it, to be honest. The breadth of the metaverse ecosystem there. A lot of these articles include things that some of us old timers might not even think of as part of the metaverse, because the concept of the metaverse seems to be a bit of everything, where it all integrates and joins, except that getting it integrated and joining up is another matter entirely. Anyway, what it is, what it isn't, etc., etc. So another nice long article. This is a site called, it's a special one actually. It's spglobal.com. So it's spglobal.com for that piece. And I didn't check this next one. I was going to check it. Okay. Right. This is, I think this is a plugin for things like Unity and Unreal Engine, and lets players create game identities and leverage their wallet access. It's, you'll find it as Emergence Site, emergence.site, SITE, of course. One for developers, really, but as far as I can tell, it's it would slot into any world you're building, and actually it does involve a degree of interoperability. So you could be building a platform on Unreal Engine, another one on Unity, and you could slot this in, and the two worlds, despite being on different platforms, could talk to each other, which is what a lot of people want to see. But how many platforms you could use that with is another matter. They mentioned Unity and Unreal. Moving on to something a bit more mainstream, which tends to be the stuff we're here to cover. This is interesting. Okay, this is it no, it's a Substack. Yeah, another site that disobeys my rules for a nice, tidy screen. This is Mr. Metaverse, who's part of the OMI thing. He's sort of almost a host of most of the weekly meetings. So he started his video blog recently, but he's also got this blog, if you can call it that, a newsletter. It's substack.com. So it's Mr. Metaverse, METAVERSE.substack.com. And you can also subscribe to it there too while you're at it. He seems to be doing about one every couple of weeks at the moment, but he's just getting started on a sort of what you might call a media onslaught, having recently changed his position, so to speak. Right, so I'll leave you with that one. Mr. Metaverse, substack.com. Moving down. This what is full body tracking? Virtuality, FBT is explained. The site this is trying to explain it, I presume, is a Microsoft site. It's called WinGG. WinGG. You never guessed that, could you, from the pronunciation? It's WIN.GG.
Good game.
I must admit, once you get used to pronouncing it, you probably won't forget that website at all. Anyway, they're trying to explain what full body tracking is, and there you go. This is really one for helmet enthusiasts, of course, but it's a feature of many headsets these days, or should I say helmets. Right now, I've actually been involved in the next one for a little bit of a while, but there's no publicity going on. But on Friday, this project Fair Share, has Hamlet gone and done a dirty on me? No, he hasn't. There we are. Which it's actually, I think it's more the brainchild of the project is being run by Philip Rosedale, who his son August Rosedale, although Philip's backing it, of course. Um, and it's sets for virtual world economies fight inequality in the real world, basically. It's very hard to explain, but there's a link here that if you go to this link at Hamlet, which is nwn.blogs.com, blogs.com, and there's various other posts about it too. In fact, I'm pretty sure he put them at the bottom here. Yeah, more about it here, and that link will take you to Fair Share's site. Now, sort of modelled on you. Well, I'm not going to go into it in detail. It's I'm no economist. It takes a bit of working out this. They've certainly been working themselves for about 2 years trying to figure it out with actual simulations of money distribution and things like that. All I will say is that it seems to work out quite well. I've also now put a group for it on our own hypergrid creators site, as well as on Metaworld's own private site. So the instructions are on the Discord sites if you want to try it out. Most people seem to think it's a good idea. There are some discussions at the moment as to now, since Friday, when we're putting it, splinter systems up all over the place more publicly. One of the things about it is you get a stipend daily of about 50 shares. I won't tell you how it all works, but I just do encourage you to spend and trade and swap things with other people. And there's built-in mechanisms for stopping people accumulating unnecessary wealth. In other words, you can't become more than 1%. But the big problem is if you've got several instances of the Fair Share server running on other servers, then is it right that then technically you are getting universal benefit payment daily from all the different servers you're on? And that obviously, while it's all virtual and kind of monopoly money type thing, that's okay. But as soon as the exchange rates are made by any, which are voted on, in fact, by any particular group using it, that could be complicated, because that is the one, it seems to me at least, to be the one glitch where people could possibly get richer than others. But anyway, New World Notes, nwn.blogs.com is where you can find out more about that and various other places now. And if you use Discord, you probably might be finding invites popping up here and there and everywhere. Right. Okay, this week in XR, as opposed to the week. Oh, God. This one's Forbes. Oh no, it's just defaulting to the wrong view here. Okay, this is Charlie Fink's February 16th. That's the end of the week. Yeah, that's about now, Friday. AI supplants the metaverse. Web3 big screen unveils its sleek VR headset, etc. And a Gartner hype cycle illustration and various other stuff there from Charlie. This obviously is the blog roundup for the week, including quite a lot of stuff actually. As opposed to what we'll be coming to later, which is his weekly video show with Ted What's It. So, Forbes.com, Forbes.com is the site you want there. All right. Also, big XR news from the XR Awards, Nokia, Snap, Big Screen, etc. This is also another roundup a day later, February 17th, from xrtoday.com, xrtoday.com. And again, a bit of a roundup of everything. And I think we've got this video version this week too from them somewhere coming up. Anyway, I'm rushing through it because if you're interested, you are obviously going to read these things or try and give you a bit of summary if I can. Oh God, this one came in this morning. This is at Vice.com, which is quite a serious site, by the way. It's not devoted to vices or anything. I do wonder. VICE.com. And this is just a bit of a shame. A lady in Britain here who well, she's not an RL sex worker, prostitute, or anything like that. She just hosts sort of shows with photos and videos from VR chat on a Fansly, which I've never even heard of account, which is a subscription site for erotic content. Um, anyway, she's been denied a visa to get into the States because they claim that, a few hours a day spent on this VR chat is prostitution. And according to the letter, that's why she's ineligible to go to the States. And she only wanted a tourist visa as well. It's not like she wanted a work visa. Anyway, I don't know. There's a bit of a furore about this, and it does seem to be a case of overkill, especially when the American government tried to comment. They just sound like they're reading the rota for a very long document without actually considering what they're talking about. Anyway, yes, doing exclusively online sex work on its own is unlikely to trigger a visa bar, the US said. However, there's nothing legally preventing US immigration authorities or the Department of State, with very little evidence or no evidence at all, from presuming that a person who does online sex work may also do in-person sex work as well, leading to a denial of a visa to the United States for engaging in prostitution. I mean, do they check everybody going into the States to this degree? I know terrorism and all that, but so I'm. I remember when I got a US visa, I had to worry about making it, convincing them I had no criminal record and all that sort of stuff, and it's fine, especially back then. But sort of. It would never occur to me that, I don't know, a woman just wants to go on a tourist visa to the States, I don't know, maybe visit Disneyland or something, and suddenly say, oh, you can't come in, you are suspected, only suspected, mind you, of being a prostitute. Oh, gosh, golly. The oldest profession in the world, and they're still upset about it. Gosh, golly, golly, welly. Anyway, you can read about that at vice.com, vice.com, can help get a word in on that one. And another one from today. Virtual worlds are trade schools in disguise. And this is Hunter Walk. He does quite a few written articles here and there. He's saying that Second Life, Minecraft, Roblox, and others collectively taught more people to code than America's top universities have. And it's all about you going into a virtual world where you can create your own things and whatever. And you start with something very simple and you go and get more complicated. You end up scripting and programming and doing everything else. And it's really an article telling us how virtual worlds are actually training grounds for coding. And are doing a much better job of it by letting people free to experiment than presumably the American top universities do it all by classroom rotor or something. But anyways, he had some reminiscences of his own, and talking about he started not him, developer experience in Second Life, being responsible for careers, and it's going back 18 years and stuff here, but it's a nice little piece actually, worthy of a different take, shall we say, on value of virtual worlds, especially from somebody who's just like a user, really. So you'll find this at, let me do this, hunterwalkmedium.com. So it's hunterwalk.medium.com, and that's where you'll find his little blog there. And we're getting to the last one we need today, really. This is from NVIDIA, senior engineering manager there, but it's an educational thing. Basically, it's all about USD, which stands for Universal Scene Description, and it's described as the HTML of 3D worlds, and will likely be key, not the key or a key, just key to unlocking the metaverse. And that's why the founder developers bit of illustration, endeavouring to explain it. See, well, it's actually easy to understand. You don't need to be technical to actually understand it. To actually make use of it and create things with it, that might that might require a bit of more expertise. But the article explaining it all is fairly straightforward here. And yeah, you can see from my scrolling, there's a fair bit to read there. So that's at medium.com. Oh, well, yeah, we're lucky with this one because we know exactly where it is. It's, no, no, sorry, we don't. So this is another post at Medium, and unlike the last one, it doesn't have um, um, and it's an easy way to get to it. As I explain most weeks, if you do follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Malburns, Malburns, you will find links to all these posts along with others from the week. And when you click on them, they will take you to the actual site where an article is. Unfortunately, here when I'm broadcasting it, all I can actually see is the top level of the website rather than, the exact folder or title of the file.
I sure
Right.
understand the value of that USD, but I've been posting in a few forums that it really disappoints me because things like Open Simulator and Second Life, where we have this big open expanse and you can walk from place to place, and the future of at least virtual reality just seems to be individual isolated scenes, and there's nice to have some standards there, but it disappoints me as a virtual world user.
I would hope I would hope that they could coexist with contiguous scenes by, having doorways between them that you can walk through in real time, or indeed just join them together like we join regions together in somewhere like OpenSim. Um, but yes, I mean, we've got even in OpenSim, we've got people like Kitely who actually do they describe all their simulators as
Right,
worlds,
right.
you know. So you do have to jump from one to the other rather than walk across. So yeah, I personally like the walk across thing too. Even though I do jumping quite a lot to get to places, when you get there, you don't want to feel limited in how far you can walk. The teleport is a way of traveling, but you don't want the teleport itself to be a nuisance, spoiling your exploration of the place you landed on, shall we say?
Yeah.
Sort of it's like having to get, going to visit, I don't know, France, and having to get an aeroplane from every city you want to go to because there's no trains or roads or anything. It's just a bit, you miss out on the interim and the unexpected.
And the unexpected, the exploration. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. On the other hand, in terms of, I don't post most of them here anymore. There's just far too many, like immersed site.
Hmm.
It has 20 or 30 destinations a day. They're mostly stuff on the web. Mostly they charge a fortune to get you in for this little exhibition on the web or whatever it is. And they are closed worlds. They are bona fide. They work. Some of them work in helmets. Some of them work on screens, and many both. Um, but people seem to have jumped on this as it's like putting up a paid website, or having a website for a shop. The purpose is to make money and sell stuff. So you build, they build the world and get people to come to it. But that to me is either well, it's all progress. But I mean, if people complain about Second Life being a walled garden, what is a single? What on earth do you call a single installation walled
Right,
garden?
right.
You know.
Yep.
So yes, interesting point there, really. Okay, so remove that. Okay, so yeah, all the okay. I'll actually probably mention this, but this is actually for another program, but it might be worth mentioning here. Hypergridbusiness.com is a site we look at now and again. This Chat GPT thing, which is also causing problems actually, but it can be used. It's the sort of learning AI thing. It can be used to teach you LSL, which is actually the Linden scripting language, but also in OpenSim OSSL. Sorry, OSSL, which is the local equivalent. Um, and well, there's a little bit of extra notes here. It's rather odd actually because Maria also published something that was warning people against ChatGPT. So I guess she's just doing promotion in whatever form it takes. Right. Okay. So back to, oh yeah, that was the pictures. We looked at those. Right. I'm a bit unsure what I've got here. In terms of what we've got on. Oh, I've got about 20 minutes to play with today. That's nice. Right. Okay. Avatar interoperability. Now this is no, this is 11 minutes of Mr. Metaverse. In fact, who I mentioned earlier from his blog. Um, I'm not going to be able to show this whole thing here. You can probably where. I think I must say certain this must be on YouTube, and it may be in my other list that comes later. Uh, Being as it's 11 minutes, I would probably have kept it there. Basically, he's giving a little talk here about avatar interoperability, not just the whole metaverse interop, but also particularly virtual avatar interoperability. And
My name is Jesse Alton. My friends call me Mr. Metaverse, and this is the Metaverse Interrupt Show. For today's episode, we're going to talk about something that's becoming increasingly important for VR, AR, and the metaverse as a whole. Before we dive in, let's start with the basics. What is VRM? It's the Metaverse Interrupt Show.
yeah,
How's
well,
that?
I should try that for hours.
VRM, or a virtual reality, is a
No.
platform for 2D humanoid characters, also known as avatars, that allow for interoperability across different metaverse platforms.
In a way, that's a good segue from universal scene description. This is universal avatar
Well, yeah.
description. Important stuff. I'm pretty sure any of you really into this stuff will have found this particular clip elsewhere, or you can get it. If you have any problems, let me know, and I'll dig out where. This is an offline copy I've got, so can't tell you right now.
Do you know, does
Um,
he refer to Ready Player Me in the video?
um, he certainly would have done because it's something Omi references quite a bit.
Right,
Uh,
right.
but it's only one of many things. It's probably the most easily consumer accessible one there is there.
Hmm.
Um, but even Ready Player Me does not produce totally interoperable
Right.
avatars.
Nothing
If you
for
yeah.
prim-based avatars like ours.
Yeah, you've got to take your basic avatar that they create, and then if necessary, go into Unity or Unreal or something and modify it for the platform you want. And sometimes that's easy, but for other platforms, it's probably near on impossible, as you say. So, but yeah, they are pioneering side. There's an excellent idea there. This is Think Reality Digital.
The internet
Uh,
is changing. We're quickly moving from flat experiences confined to our
oops.
spatial and interactive digital representation of our physical world, the metaverse. A new way of thinking that promises to change the way we work, entertain, and connect. With Lenovo's Think Reality A3 smart glasses, we're working to bring head-worn AR to enterprise and consumer customers alike, and be your on-ramp to the metaverse. And by partnering with Qualcomm, we're making it just as easy to develop for as it is to wear.
Well, believe it or not, I'm pretty sure I've shown that before. I mean, it's only 2 minutes, but no sense in doing it twice. This was certainly before the release of the big screen one this week. So, and my clip is dated 20th of January. So, whoops, I think.
Well, and big screen has no augmented reality. It's all immersive,
True. Yeah.
closed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, well, you know, James, wouldn't you? Didn't I show that last week?
I don't recall it, but
Oh,
yeah.
With Snapdragon Spaces, we've designed a suite of open architecture tools that are device and platform agnostic, supporting a wide array of hardware, such as the Think Reality A3 glasses, as well as content creation platforms such as Unity and Unreal Engine. Snapdragon Spaces is designed to make development as painless and transparent as possible, so you can focus on making content that matters.
The Think Reality A3 offers dual 1080p displays, dual fisheye cameras for room scale 6-DoF tracking, an 8-megapixel RGB camera, and, when tethered to your Moto smartphone, a lightweight and mobile experience.
And by leveraging the latest hardware from Lenovo, you can connect with all the powerful tools that Snapdragon Spaces provides. Image recognition, plane detection, hand tracking, persistent anchors, and more. Use these features to develop new experiences from the ground up, or port your XR apps over easily using open standards. We also know that you want to hear from people that actually use it. So we've been having some fantastic discussions with some of the developers in our early access and Pathfinder programs.
They've already been using the Think Reality A3 smart glasses and Snapdragon Spaces SDK to deliver high-end experiences across a variety of industries. And we can't wait to share those stories with you. So,
All right, DOF stands for degrees of
Freedom.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, I just listening to the guy there. I mean, there's a sentence where he just says, and just throwaway line where he says "sixth off."
Yep.
And I keep taking a take because it's not quite familiar enough to, for me to recognise sixth off as a word description.
Oh, okay.
An actual sentence. It's like sort of. And we also feature blah blah as such a, it's gone before you kind of click. Anyway, well, that was if I didn't show it before, it's probably because we're running out of time. So before we do run out of time, I better show you the one that really is about big screen beyond.
It's a mad world.
I think I missed earlier on. Yeah. I got the impression it's taking orders now, but obviously from what it's showing there, it's actually pre-orders for something that ships in the autumn. So maybe not something to be on your delivered in your post any day, but it's nevertheless looking interesting. Right, let's see what I've got. Right, where's this 1 minute? This is about Frame.io. This is an authoring system that's actually on the web and is very popular amongst the open metaverse developers and things. I think promotions for these worlds and things should have a special Twitter stream where the announcement is the same for all of them. We have legs. It would obviously exclude those that don't.
Or a logo at least. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And now this is from last week. Limp Biscuits, No Code UFO. What was that one? Oh, I think we may have. Okay, so folks, I remember using that last week as a sort of vaguely introduction of the idea of teleporting. So, expert explains this is 8 minutes. I've probably got 8 minutes if there's nothing else. Oh, hang on, spatial canvas.
I have a lot of dreams of where I want to take this.
No, we did that last week.
We did that last week, yeah.
Yes, it's all a bit weird here at the moment. Okay, I'm going to put Jeremy Bilson on. This is nearly 9 minutes. This will take us up to our allotted time, as it were.
Well, I'd like to still talk about Upload VR if we get a chance.
Oh gosh, I haven't got right. Okay, that can hang on to another week. It's not important. Okay, let me just sort myself out and okay, here we go. Yes, I'd forgotten that if you follow my feed on Twitter, you do also get my feed, a relay of my feeds for Mastodon, which you can find separately at Metaworld and Mastodon Social. This is basically where I put any long form videos that are worth sharing. There's been a couple this week, like Jeremy there, that probably should have been here. Anyway, up today, although it's a couple of days out now, the normal Charlie Fink's Week in Exile podcast. Their guest is somebody called Alex Herity, who's the CEO of Anima. But they've got quite a lot to talk about this week. Also, from yesterday, Mixed Realities, a new edition of that, looking at games, but all sorts of other stuff actually. So, a fairly wide-ranging program. Good listen, good listen. Yeah, Amelia's big reveal from Friday. This would have been. This is hang on, what is it? Oh yeah, 10 minutes.
I am futurist Amelia Coleman.
Right, that is actually. Oh, I've done it. What I'm going. My browser's going haywire. I can't keep forgetting. It's a single page. Right. Okay. There's 10 minutes of that, of course. So, and finally for this week, there is the earlier in the week on 14th of February, there is the regular edition of VR Download. And this week, James, as you might have just heard him hinting a minute or two ago,
Yep.
has something to say on this one. So take it away, James.
Well, it was a very interesting program, and it relates to two stories that you put at the top of the show, which were about Meta discovering the source of their leaks. And then also you mentioned the YouTube blog, Sadly It's Bradley. And the folks here at Upload VR have, oftentimes, cited vlog posts from Sadly It's Bradley when they're talking about, like the Apple leak and the Quest 3 leaks and things like that. Well, part of Meta discovering who their leaker was also discovering that Sadly It's Bradley was getting information from that leak source. And so the heart of the program, the question to me was, Mal, do you consider yourself a journalist with this program?
Oh, a question.
Yeah. And so, it's, and the upshot is, you don't have to answer that, but is Sadly It's Bradley a YouTuber who is sharing information? Does he need to be held to journalistic standards of protecting your source or hiding your source? And it was probably a half-hour discussion in the program about that. And I think the fellows at Upload VR had to, really consider what was their place in repeating information from websites. So if you get a chance, I really strongly recommend you take a look at it.
Right, I think I actually posted this just as it was going live, and I was doing
Yeah.
I didn't really sit around for the whole thing.
Yep.
It's an interesting point. I'll try and answer the question you asked me. You said I don't have to, but I will. I've always described myself as a news aggregator. When it comes to all the stuff I do these days, there's certainly points in time where I would have said I was a journalist. I used to have a press pass, to go to concerts and
Right,
things like
right.
that is the sort of thing where you obviously you have to have a press card or something to, get yourself into those things. I mean, getting the press card to get into those things is a racket in itself. But because I did write about things that were both opinion and reportage, if you like. I think when I'm doing the links aggregation as such, I'm just like when I started on Twitter, maybe 20 years ago, there were only a few of us, and we were sharing links with each other. It's our way of, the club being involved on
Right, right.
everybody read, about the metaverse and such like. And so I wouldn't call it journalism. I wouldn't say it precludes journalism. I mean, every time I comment on something here as a comment, I suppose it's editorial, even though it's not necessarily journalism, if you see what I mean. So on this show, I mean, I certainly do, it's more than just my links. You're getting a little bit of my commentary too. It's that I would certainly, actually, I mean, I get stuff like, the Philip Rosedale project I mentioned earlier, for example. I mean, I've been NDA on that for long enough, I respect those limitations. This this thing about publishing links is very much of a sign of the times thing, which is happening, with not just the metaverse but online now. The Australian government wants Google to pay for every link it publishes, even though half of them come from a search engine, and there are whole loads of systems, not to mention professions, that really didn't exist before the online thing. I mean, a lot of what I do with the Twitter feed is what you might call a tipster. It was called a tipster back in the day. People that follow my Twitter feed do it to keep an eye on all those links, and then they maybe follow the particular links that appeal to them, and maybe write more about it. And whether they write something of like they write a review or experiential report, then that plausibly is journalism. It's not journalism in the news sense, because strict journalism means you've got somebody on the spot where news is breaking, and they're trained to try and remain impartial in their reporting. It is sometimes very difficult in things like war zones, as we see now. How do you remain impartial with, scenes behind you?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, there is a bit of journalism involved here, but it's bringing the news to people, not. And I am strictly dependent on other sites and other media to actually get that news. But I mean, I do it so other people don't have to. I mean, a friend of mine, Safia Widdishins, who hosts in Second Life, a Designing Worlds program, she always describes me as the person who reads all the RSS feeds so she doesn't have to.
Yeah, right.
That kind of summarizes it quite well.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm quite pleased with being that I'm that person. So yeah, I can't. It's not a simple answer, because a lot of the answer would be different. I've nothing to lose these days. If they come and arrest me for posting a link to something that they don't like, well, tough shit.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm
will
going to
indeed.
see. I don't suspect there is going to be legal action, but the question did come up, and of course, the people publishing the VR download, which is a program I enjoy watching. I enjoy watching Sadly It's Bradley, his YouTube features, but I'm also a big believer of freedom in of the press. So. But I'd hate to see things go really sour for this young man who's doing this work.
Yeah, sadly, yeah.
Yep.
I wasn't very familiar with him, sadly, Bradley, until a few weeks ago when I had a clip and they mentioned it and you mentioned it or something. And
Yeah.
it's obviously an American phenomenon, this guy, but yeah. Which is odd to think that in this day and age, a lot of these phenomena are very territorial, you know. But
Sure, right.
yeah,
Anyway, it was a great show. If you have a chance, you might want to dig into it, especially that middle portion. They do a nice aspect of their YouTube where they put chapters in their broadcast, so you can look on the
yeah.
YouTube play bar and go right to that section of the recording.
Yes, I noticed that.
Yeah.
It's, there are lots of concerts actually have that on
Yeah.
now. And
Yep.
if you watch them online, you can skip to the tracks you want. Whereas if you watch them on TV, you've got to watch the whole concert.
It's a lot of work, though. I'm not going to do it.
Well,
I'm not going to put in chapters on our recordings.
yeah, exactly. I don't know whether it's automated or what, but yeah, it's easy to do if it's like song after song. You just take the break. But... Okay, well, I think we do actually have another show to do today, so I
We
think
do,
better get our asses in gear, as they say. Wonderful to have you here. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope we have provided some useful tips and links for you. And possibly, when we weren't paying attention, a little bit of opinion.
And hopefully no steps into liability.
Journalism.
Journalism.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be back same time, same place next week, ready to put our foot in it again. Quite literally, maybe. Who knows? It's goodbye from me, goodbye from James here, and yeah, we're out of here. Call it a wrap and see you next week. Bye for now.